What is going on, everyone? Tim from Tierfon Orbital. I would like to talk about a Vaders Vault hilt again. Today, it seems like I've been getting a lot of Vaders Vault upgrades lately, and that's a rare occurrence because I feel like people, when they get their Vaders Vault hilts, they just hold on to them because they don't want to upgrade them. They just want to keep them, right? Those that have them. I mean, do people ever get their Vaders Vault hilts?
Whoa. Now, if I didn't know any better, I would say that was sarcasm.
Anyway, so this is a Vaders Vault. What is it? So anyway, this is a Vaders Vault Maelstrom. This was sent to me for a complete upgrade, but prior to getting an upgrade, it was sent to Redfox drummer for some powder coating treatment, and it was given a really cool powder coating scheme, right? So this is a great, it went from a 0 to a hero. Sorry. No, it was given a great color scheme on this hilt, right? So this is the final product. Redfox did a really cool job with the powder coating on this one, right? So anyhow, yeah, this the Vaders Vault hilts that prior to being upgraded, it had an antiquated install, obviously. So the customer wanted it brought into the new, right? So it had like a sled chassis install. I don't think it even had. I don't even think it had like a CFX or a Profi in it. I don't even remember. It had an older install. The customer wanted it, upgraded, obviously. So there were a few things that I wanted to take advantage of on this hilt. There are 3 holes. Let me get that in focus here. There are 3 holes on the outside of this hilt that I wanted to take advantage of and wanted to get these lit. Also, I mean, obviously, typical of Vaders Vault hilts, we have a massive black hole of an AV switch here that we had to figure out what we wanted to do with, right? So I do want to talk about that when we come up top. But before we do any of that, I do want to come into Fusion and talk about the chassis that we figured out for this particular install, because we did have to come up with some compromises to make room for that switch and for those holes on the side of the hilt as well, right? So with all of that out of the way, let's come into Fusion. All right, so here it is. I bet you thought it was going to be something fancy, didn't you? You thought it was going to be just like bells and whistles and no, just very simple static chassis. Okay, so let's start at the bottom. 24 millimeter speaker down here. Okay, 24 millimeter speaker. 18650 battery, static chassis, tilted Profieboard setup. Very simple, right? But we were able to get a 24 millimeter speaker in here, and I'm happy with that, right? All right, so 24 millimeter speaker down here. There is a wire channel up the spine of the chassis. This is where I bring my leads from for my negative battery tab and my speaker all the way up to the Profieboard. Okay. Positive battery terminal is here. I mean, you all are aware. I mean, you guys know what this stuff is, right? Battery tray is here. Around back, we do have some relatively simple ridges and greeblies on each side, okay? There is a kill switch on the side of the chassis, okay? This hole, this indentation here, is where those 3 holes on the side of the hilt are, right? So I have 3 circular 3 millimeter LEDs here. Okay. There was just enough clearance. So I had to do, well, first of all, I had to do a tilted Profieboard setup in this install. Otherwise, we would have had to step down to an 18350 battery. And even then it would have been really, really tight in this build, right? So there was just enough clearance to do a tilted Profieboard setup to allow for room for those 3 LEDs. The other thing that we had to allot for, rather, was the giant hole in the top of this hilt, right? So KR Sabers does a really, really unique pixel switch that does have a dual switch option as well. But the thing about those is they are a low profile, right? So rather than have a super, super deep 16 millimeter AV switch in this setup, which we wouldn't have been able to do with the clearance. I mean, it would have been going into this Profieboard, right? Rather than doing that, I did a dual button KR pixel switch, and they are very, very shallow. So that's what I did here instead. And I just created a custom insert for the KR pixel switch that kind of molds to the body of the Maelstrom, right? We'll go over that when we come up top. But up top, that is where the lit PCB emitter is. And that is it, right? Let's come up top and talk about it a little bit more. Okay, so here it is, the Maelstrom from Vaders Vault. Sounds sinister, doesn't it? Maelstrom. Okay, so let's talk about this wrap too, right? So the customer did want a new wrap put on this hilt. So this is probably one of the more difficult wraps that I have done. This is not wrapped and then this grip bar slapped on top of that wrap. I had to wrap this and then cut the wrap to allow for this bar to go in place. And it took me a number of tries to get this to look correct. And it was pretty difficult. Yeah, it doesn't look perfect, but I'm pretty happy with the result. Okay, it was pretty difficult to get that to work and look correct with the lines, everything lining up correctly. Okay, there are those 3 LEDs. All right, here is that AV. Well, we'll come down to the bottom and we'll get a better look at it, right? But there's that, not AV switch, but there's that pixel switch. It is inside of an insert, right? That I just kind of tried to mold to make look in line with the Maelstrom body. Okay. Right. So here's the chassis. Did a pass of pewter rub and buff on this one just to make it look a little bit more in line with the gunmetal powder coat on the outside of the hilt. All right. And that is it. 18650 battery setup. This is a button top 18650. Put your battery in that battery tray. Hit your kill switch. There are those 3 lit LEDs, circular LEDs, and then of course that pixel switch is also lit. This is its own blade in the config. These 3 LEDs are their own blades in the config as well. Okay.
That lightsaber was Luke's.
All right. Once you get your battery in, you can put your grip back on and you're ready to go. All right, so let's come down to the bottom. So there's a better look at that little molded, like LED, molded holder for that KR pixel switch. There we go. All right. All right. Let's put a blade in it. Okay. All right. So this is a 1-inch blade holder. I actually do not have the correct set screw for this. This is the biggest set screw hole I have ever seen. It's typically Vaders Vault, like just weird shit. So I just happen to have a giant lug here that just happens to fit. This is not the right size, so I'm just going to do that for the demo, right? But to you, the customer, I'm assuming you have the right one at home, right? So 1-inch blade holder. I'm going to tighten this giant lug here, and we are ready to go. All right. See what else we put on here.
Then solo.
So there are those LEDs. All right. Twist to activate, twist to deactivate are on. Let's see what else we put on here.
The NASA team is ready for launch.
Okay. And that's it. That is the Maelstrom from Vaders Vault upgraded. Powder coated by Redfox drummer. So, to the customer, thank you very much for trusting me with your hilt and install and for your patience. To the viewers, thank you for watching. If anyone has any questions about this install, please do not be a stranger. And with that being said, may the force be with you always. Thanks for watching, everybody.